Yesterday's session, we started discussing about the provisioning the AKS, and we'll just continue the further part, especially connecting to the AKS, which I have shown already. Since I deleted those resources, I'm going to provision the VM, and I'm going to connect to the AKS cluster as a DevOps engineer. Okay, all right, team. So let's go here, and I'm just giving a quick recap on the part. So this is your Kubernetes cluster, which is sitting in one subnet, and which we are going to, it's a private cluster. It's a private cluster which we are trying to connect from outside as a DevOps engineer. So with the help of XAMPP host. So that is how exactly we are making our connection possible. So the firstly, what we need to do, we need to provision a virtual machine. So your Kubernetes cluster is provisioning on the other side. So we need to provision a virtual machine, create a virtual machine. You can take any virtual machine here. I'm just considering here some Ubuntu. So for that one, I'm just considering AKS DevOps-VM. So that's the name exactly I'm referring here. And you can keep everything as it is. Okay, and if you want to use key-based, I think you can keep that one, not an issue. And just go for the next and go for the networking. And here I'm planning to deploy especially VM also in the same VNet. Okay, by defining a separate subnet. You can see that one here. ADO, this particular VNet has another subnet called VM subnet. I'm trying to deploy our VM in the VM subnet. Okay. So next this is done. Let's go for the management, the networking, and advanced attacks and review create. Okay. So once you provision the virtual machine, okay. So now what we need to do, next we will try to connect to the Kubernetes cluster with the help of this virtual machine team. Okay. So download the key for connection. Thank you. So once this is done, team, so now what we need to do. Alright, so now what we need to do, so your Kubernetes cluster is still provisioning. I think we need to wait for some time. So meanwhile, we need to proceed for further installations on the VM. So the firstly, as a DevOps engineer, you should install AZCLI into the VM. That's the step number one. As a DevOps engineer, you should install kubectl also into this virtual machine. So 2 installations you need to perform. So I'm going for the first one. So AZCLI installation. It'll point us to go for the Microsoft documentation. Just proceed further. Here you can see specifically a single command which will help us to install the AZCLI and the Ubuntu. Installation on Ubuntu. Let's take this link here. Alright, team. So this is the command which we need to use to install AZCLI into the VM. So for that, let's wait for a few seconds until this VM is getting provisioned.
Dinesh, we created the VM before. Are we repeating the same?
Yeah, we are repeating the same. Yeah, I just cleaned that AKS on the VM as part of the cleanup activity. Now I'm just provisioning the virtual machine and the AKS. I think both are done. Okay. Yeah. It's a repetition. Yeah. Alright, so this is your virtual machine. Just copy this public IP. So what are the public IP you have, and go for the Visual Studio. So what visuals you have the Visual Studio. Just try to use the Visual Studio code. Okay. As part of the step number 1, I think you just use the command. This particular command prompt at the terminal, so which will help us to connect to the virtual machine team. So the firstly, since it's a key-based one, right? So you need to apply the command. Just zoom in a bit. SSH-I. So you need to go for the downloads first, okay? So you need to go for the downloads. So once you go for the downloads, SSH-I. So you need to take that particular VM. AKS DevOps VM _.pem is the one, and this is your username @ and you need to provide the IP address for that. Okay, so you need to provide the IP address. The IP address is 26.162. Okay, so just provide that one. So it will just tell you the PEM key is to open. So now what we need to do, we need to restrict the permission for that. So chmod 600 on this particular file. So once we submit, then I think confidently you can go for your Visual Studio code to proceed for further operations. Just click on this left bottom corner, this one, go to connect to the host, configure the SSH host, open the config. So once you are here, team, just scroll down. So here I'm going to modify this one a little bit. So this particular path, whatever the name you're seeing, I'm just copying that and just come here and I'm just replacing that one from here, team. Okay, alright. So and also the another one is the public IP also. You need to modify this one also. So just paste this particular public IP whatever you copied. Okay, alright. So once this is done, now click on the left bottom corner and connect to the host and go for the DevOps VM and try to establish the connection, team. Okay. Alright. So now just open the folder. It will try to bring you the folder for you. Alright, team. Cool. So far good. Now once you are here, the first, as I mentioned, we need to install the AGCLI into this particular Ubuntu. For that, copy this command and just paste it over here. So why we need to install AGCLI? AGCLI is useful for us to connect to the Kubernetes cluster, team. Okay, to pull the credentials. So that's the part exactly we will do next. Now there is another window where you can see the Kubernetes cluster is already there. Open this one. There is a connect button. Click on the connect. Just come here. Here you can see the two commands. These are the two commands exactly you need to execute here. Oh, wait for a while. Yeah, it's almost there.
Dinesh, can you please share this draw.io, the diagram which you've shown earlier in the class?
The current one only, right? Now,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will share. Alright, so once this is done, then just set the subscription. And whenever you're setting up the subscription, I think it is just telling you the subscription doesn't exist. The reason is you haven't logged into the Azure cloud from CLI. So that's the part exactly you need to do. So my recommendation is better to go for the another command which it is recommending. Try to go for this particular command. So this is the easiest one which you can do. Open this particular URL in the browser firstly. So once you open that one, copy this authorized code. Okay, so just provide that particular authorized code. It will ask you to just authenticate. So just authenticate your login to. Alright, so you're in. Okay, so now it will bring you your tenant and subscription details. Now try to submit the previous command whatever you attempted. So you're just setting up the subscription. That's really good. So once that is done, then what exactly you need to do? Okay, so then there is one more AKS get credential. Copy this get credential. Just come here, just paste it. Okay, so this is nothing but a pulling credentials team. So you pull the credentials successfully to your config folder. Okay, that's really awesome. So the so far really good. So everything is in place. The next important thing is always to make sure, or always to make a connection with the Kubernetes cluster, you need to have the kubectl installed on this VM. So the next important step here is kubectl installation on Ubuntu. Okay, so this is exactly the installation you need to proceed for, and you just copy the commands whatever you are seeing on the screen. So just copy the commands first. Okay, just try to proceed just like that whatever is there on the screen. Okay, you don't need to verify any other things. So this is the CLI tool which will help us to connect to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, always remember this one. Okay? So whatever with the cloud, you can use the same technique. Okay, you don't need to worry on this. Alright. So once that is done, I think you just copy this kubectl version client. Just come here, just check that version, so it is there already. So everything is awesome. Okay, so now you just go there and kubectl get svc is the command exactly I'm trying to use. See, I'm seeing some response which is telling you Kubernetes cluster is getting connected. To be very specific, if you want to double check really the Kubernetes cluster is really connected or not, I think you can execute a few more commands. I'm just zoom out a bit. Okay, kubectl get po. Get po refers to pods. Pods nothing but an applications. Okay, you can give full name also, not an issue, or po also fine. -a. So just give po. It will just reflect you nothing. The reason for that one is no applications are running on the default namespace. So there are logical separations, especially in the Kubernetes cluster. So those are the different namespaces are available. See, technically in your real time, if you want to keep all front-end applications in the front-end namespace, back-end applications in the back-end namespace, and database specific in the database namespace. So that's the purpose of the namespaces, to just logically separate among these kind of web tiers or database tier tiers. That is your wish. Even you can use the same for multiple environments also. You can create one namespace for dev environment, one namespace for SIT, another for pre-prod, and another one for some UAT, something like that. That and all your assumption, and that and all you based upon your requirement, okay? Based upon the cost also. The cost also matters. So cost matters means, for example, if you are using only one Kubernetes cluster, for all your dev, SIT, pre-prod, that is fine. The only segregation here is the namespaces, right? So dev namespace, SIT namespace, and pre-prod namespace, or something like that. No, your client is okay to use multiple Kubernetes clusters. Of course, same architecture will be replicated across multiple Kubernetes clusters. So that's exactly the point I'm highlighting to you. All right. So once this is done, now you just proceed further, and especially here, what exactly we are discussing here, kubectl PO -m just providing. So see, this is listing a lot of pods which are sitting in the Kubernetes cluster. All right, team. So now once this is done, so you got successfully connected to the Kubernetes cluster. Now what exactly the thing I'm just planning and playing here is, so next I'm planning to deploy my application to the Kubernetes cluster. So that's my goal. So how exactly we need to do that? For example, let's proceed for one application, okay? When you go for there, I'm just proceeding for some first DevOps, okay? I'm trying to deploy an application into the Kubernetes cluster, and I'll try to access that application from the front end, okay? That's what exactly I will try. I'll proceed for. Okay, let's consider I'm planning to use an application called Docker ReactJS. Maybe I have one ReactJS application which is with me, okay? This is your containerized application, right? This is your containerized application. I'm planning to use, and I'm planning to convert this Dockerized application into the Kubernetes one. Okay, how? So for that, I think you can refer my GitHub, especially here. And here I have posted the manifest already, which you can take a look. So that would be the easiest thing for you, team. Okay, if you take a look. Okay, let me check this one. Is it the right one or not? Yeah, all right. I think you can see all here. For example, for instance, I'm just referring only one deployment here. This is the one deployment which I'm referring at the moment. Let's say this is one deployment YAML. Okay, I'm just simply copying this deployment YAML as it is. I'm just copying and just proceed for your Docker ReactJS. Here, I'm just adding a file here. Okay, I'm just adding a file here called deployment.yaml. Okay, so this is one of the deployment deployment YAML. Okay, just create this particular deployment YAML. See, to convert a standalone project into the containerized one, you need a Docker file. To convert a Dockerized project into the Kubernetes one, you need a deployment YAML. Not only deployment YAML, you need few manifest file. But at the moment, currently we are playing with only a deployment. This is the deployment YAML file. Type you can see as a deployment. Okay, so that's why I'm calling this one as a deployment YAML. So I'm going to use this deployment YAML in order to deploy an application into the Kubernetes cluster. So that's the important thing I'm going to use. So let's proceed further. And what are the content I just copied? I'm just copying everything from here. And especially few things are really not needed here. For example, this is environment section. Okay, I'm taking environment section out. Okay, for example, I'm just taking this one out. And also this particular thing. So since it's a front-end application, I'm just giving this particular thing as a front-end instead of giving the middleware. I'm just giving this one as a front-end. Okay, namespace also. I think namespace you can use anything, team. If you don't use a specific namespace, it will go there and deploy in the default. But if you are using a specific one, I can give some front-end -ns. Remember, this is a logical separation. I'm telling this one. Okay, namespace is a logical separation. I'm giving my deployment name as front-end deployment. It's a front-end deployment. I will explain the format. API version is the one exactly pointing the Kubernetes version, whatever you are using. Always app/v1 is the one which you can keep it until and unless you are using some beta versions. So so there is a possibility for the interviewer they may raise a question. What exactly the format of the deployment? Okay, deployment YAML. You can start discussing from API version. Kind is deployment, metadata. Metadata is nothing but just information about your deployment, just an information. So I'm telling my deployment name is frontend, my deployment going to be sitting in the namespace of frontend -ns, and the labels. If you want to give separate labels, you can do like tags. Like tags was cost segregation, how we will give in the portal. Similarly, labels also you can define here. Okay. Just copy this frontend and just replace this modular preset here. You know one thing here, I'm going to keep the deployment a replicas as 2, meaning that 2 pods, 2 application instances will be running all the time. That's what exactly you're telling, replicas are 2. And also how you are planning to rise to, based on what logic? Based on the label logic, label match logic, okay, match label logic. Here I'm just converting everything into the front end only, okay, everything into the front end, so that I think things will be very clear. And I will modify this one also, don't worry. So for now, what exactly you need to keep in your mind? There is a front end deployment which you are trying to do. This is a deployment metadata. Keep that one in the mind. You don't need to buy hack. Just you should understand what all the things are there. Under the spec, the specification section, we are telling, okay, 2 replicas, 2 pods to be there always. And under the selector section, this is the key thing exactly you are going to talk about. This is your pod template. Remember, I'm going to explain this relation here, team. Okay. This is a template which is a pod template. This is a pod template. Remember, this is a container spec. This is a pod spec. Okay, this is pod spec. Now you can see under template, you are under pod template, you are giving a label name as app frontend. And under replica section, you are telling wherever app front end matches, convert that particular pod in 2 parts. 2 parts in the sense replica as 2. Okay. Always it will maintain 2 replicas in your Kubernetes cluster. That's the point exactly I'm highlighting. Okay. Hope you understand this one. Whatever you are defining on the line number 16, same thing you need to define on the line number 12. Okay. Then only the match will happen and the same pods will be deployed in 2. Okay, in 2 replicas. Remember that point. Okay, all right. And ultimately, you need to tell where exactly your container is sitting. My container image path. This is what your image path. You need to tell this container and what port exactly I should listen. That one also you should tell very clearly. And where exactly your container image is sitting. That secret also you should pass. So that is all about the deployment YAML. Okay. I'm just copying this particular deployment YAML. So whatever the deployment YAML you are seeing, and you can commit this one. You can commit this particular thing. Just commit. Okay, you can proceed something like this. All right. So now once your deployment YAML is ready, now what exactly the thing next you need to look for? Here, this particular image is not true, right? This path is not correct. How to fix this one? So first you need to build the ReactJS project. Okay. Let's go to the pipeline section, team. Let's go to the pipeline section. Under the pipeline section, I'm seeing one Docker ReactJS project here. Okay. Here I'm seeing one Docker ReactJS project. I believe you remember this Docker ReactJS project already. I'm going for this one. Just click on edit button. Simple. There is a Docker build and push, right? So there is a Docker build and push, which you are building your Docker file and you are pushing. That's all. You are not doing anything extra, right? The same thing only. Whatever the Docker file is there for your ReactJS, we already discussed this one in detail, this Docker file, okay? So this is the one exactly we are planning now. So now the thing is, once this particular part is with you, now your Docker file is ready, and there are some changes which we need to do on the deployment YAML. Wait for it. For now, let's set up the build pipeline. Build pipeline for the Docker project and the Kubernetes project is same. Okay, there is no difference. So this is the only thing. I'm simply running the pipeline. So this particular pipeline which you are trying to run is executing on this particular pool. But let's see, this particular pool agent is offline. I think it's offline. Now you need to go to the portal. Okay, now you need to go for the virtual machine. ADO 201 VM, just start that virtual machine team. Okay. Once you start the virtual machine, now you just go to the terminal again. I'm just trying to connect to that particular one. Azure user. Just give this particular IP address. Once you provide this particular part, I think it will because you're just starting this virtual machine, it will ask for the password. Okay, so we need to provide that. Wait for a while then. Try one more time, please, team. All right, that's good. So just provide the password. I think you will be in. So once you are in, I think you just need to execute. You just need to start the agent, team. So that's the first thing which you need to perform. So I'm starting the agent. So once you start the agent, you need to give the permission for the Docker sock. Okay. Right. So once you are done with this particular part, team, now what exactly the thing I'm just trying to do? Okay. So once these things done, team. So now you just proceed for the build pipeline. Sorry, you just proceed for your build pipeline. Okay, and try to kickstart this particular build pipeline, team. So that's all we need to do. Okay. So I'm just going here. I think just wait for a while. I think it will be executed. So there is an error. Let's go there and see that. I believe we have given the permission already. Let's try one more time, team. Oh, I think okay. It was asking the password. Okay, alright. Okay, so just provide the password. I think this time should be okay. I think it's cleared already. Alright, team. So you have deployed successfully, okay, and also where exactly you have deployed. So I mean where you have pushed. It's not about the deployment. Where you have pushed your image. Okay, you just come here to the stages. So here you can see your especially the container registry. So you are using the container registry as this one. Copy this and just go to the manage section. Here if you go there and double check this one, I think you can see where exactly it is coming from. So for example, you just come here to the edit. I think it is connected to the project 123. Okay, this is the container registry. You just go to the project 123 container registry. Here you can see the registry, right? So the registry is something, or container registries or something like this. The project 23. Okay, just come here. Here are the repositories. You can take a look, and you can see something called ReactJS. Open the ReactJS, and you can see the latest is 708. And this is the one exactly you should use in your deployment also. Copy this for same thing. Copy the same thing, and just go to the deployment. Okay, especially on the repository stream. So this is the step we need to perform. Go to the deployment.yml and especially click on edit button. Okay. So once you click on the edit button, now you can come here and especially you can use something in the place of this one. You can use something like this. Okay, and you can use agent 708 at the latest. Anything is fine. Anyway, it will consider the same thing. Okay, even you can use the latest tag also. Okay, so that even that is also fine. That's not an issue, team. Okay, so I'm just replacing this particular part. Okay, and something like this. Okay, alright, or something I'm just keeping here. Just commit this one for now. So you have modified your deployment very clearly. Okay, your deployment is now front-end deployment is pointing your image which is sitting here. But the thing is, you haven't changed the secret. Now what is this image pull secret? Okay, see now what exactly you are doing here. As a DevOps engineer, by using build and release pipeline, you are trying to deploy a Kubernetes manifest into this particular Kubernetes AKS. Okay, so for instance, let me draw the simple diagram here. Okay, so for instance, what exactly the thing I'm talking here. So for example, these are the build pipelines, right? So these are the build pipelines, and there you can see one more is release pipeline. Okay, or something in the place of build, I think you can see the release. Now the part is, I believe, when the build is connecting to the release, and when by using the release pipeline you are trying to deploy, that's okay. But whatever the deployment you are deploying, ultimately your build pipeline has pushed an image to ACR. Hope you understand that. Okay, right? So Azure ACR. So when we see the Azure ACR container registry, okay, so no worries. I think I'm just taking a box here. So when we are referring the container registry, something ACR. So this is the registry exactly you are using in all the regions. So for example, if you consider this example, whatever you're seeing now, okay, whatever you're seeing now, there is an ACR. So here is the ACR. This ACR consisting an image. This ACR consisting an image. Your build pipeline is pushing an image to ACR, correct? So far you are clear, right? Now, when you are deploying the manifest by using release pipeline to Kubernetes, you need to inform Kubernetes cluster from where Kubernetes cluster needs to pull an image. So that's about the secret. Okay. You need to talk about the secret. That is what the image pull secret means. So the thing is, image pull secrets are missing. Now, how to create an image pull secret? You can go for the Kubernetes documentation. Okay. You can just search for AKS ACR-secret or image pull secret. You can search for. So this is exactly the link you need to take a look, and this particular link will help you. Just help you to just pull a image from the ACR. Okay. Now you just come here. Here you can see one command. This command I'm talking about. Copy this command team. This command will tell you about container registry username, password, and registry URL, everything. Okay. Copy this one. Go for the online note. Okay. I'm just going for the online notepad. Open the online notepad. Okay. Just come here. Here I'm just placing this particular command. And especially firstly, I'm going to give the secret name as, this is the secret name. I'm just giving the secret name as ACR-secret. Okay, that's the set number 1. And I'm trying to deploy this particular secret into the front-end namespace. Okay, you can be very clear on this. Okay, front-end NS. I believe that's the name exactly we are doing our deployment also. Please double check. So front-end NS. Okay, you can use similar to that thing. Okay, that would be the best always. So it's in the same namespace you are giving secret also. And this ACR is, you are very clear on this, and you can simply refer your deployment terminal. That one will talk about this. Okay, just copy this one. Okay, copy this, and you just come here. Sorry, not about this one. It's just about the server only. Okay, just about the server only. All right. So you just go to the documentation one more time. So that is about the server. Then the username and the password you need to talk about. And when it comes for the username and the password, here you can see the username and the password, especially on the registry. So if you consider this is your registry, here you can see one username and the one password. So this is username and this is password. Copy this username and just come here, and I'm just coming here replacing this, and I'm just coming here and replacing the password as well. Okay, so that password especially you can see here. Okay, copy this password and just go there, just paste it. That's all. So this is all about the ACR secret. Okay, now you prepared the command. Okay, you prepared what exactly the command is talking. Command is talking about yours and registry details only. Simple registry details only. So once you are done, go to the terminal, go to the Visual Studio Code. Here you already got connected to the Kubernetes cluster. Correct? I'm simply submitting the command. Okay, simply I'm submitting the command. This is the command exactly I'm submitting. Just submit. It is just telling, hey, I'm unable to create a namespace called frontend NS. See, this command is assuming already you have a namespace. Okay, now since it is not accepting that, first create the namespace. Okay, just command is kubectl create NS. Just give this particular namespace. Just paste it. Okay, namespace got created. Now submit the command one more time. Just submit it. See, ACR secret got created. ACR secret got created. The same name, ACR secret. That's your secret name, right? The same name you will use in your deployment YAML. See, ACR secret. That's all the case here. You are very clear now. You are informing your deployment YAML which secret it needs to refer to pull this image. That's the point here, team. Okay. All right. Once everything is done, now I'm going for the release pipeline. Sorry. Now I'm just going for the release pipeline. Since you have modified the deployment YAML, you need to go for the build pipeline one more time because you have modified this one. We are going to refer. Why? Sorry, not this one. Right? Yeah, this one, right? So chi docker yarn, just rerun this one, because we are going to refer this artifact, or especially that artifact doesn't consisting of any deployment ML. Okay, so that is one thing. And another important thing also I want to highlight here, I need the deployment YAML to be visible for the release pipeline. Now come back to the diagram one more time. What you are doing here, what you are doing in this connection, you are informing release pipeline, hey, I have deployment YAML, deployment manifest. Okay, so you please use this manifest. Please use this manifest to deploy a service into this. You need to pass this one to release pipeline. How you can pass this? So to pass this one, you need to copy this as an artifact in the build pipeline. So let me explain that one in detail. Go to the pipeline one more time. I'm just editing the pipeline. Okay, team. Just one step, interesting one I'm doing. After you push an image, I'm taking copy files. Okay, I'm taking copy files. What exactly the files I'm just copying? I'm planning to copy everything from this repository, right? So whatever you're seeing, I believe everything. I think you can give, if it is the same thing, you can give something, some source, build directory or something. Everything I'm just copying to the staging directory or something like this. Everything I'm copying to the staging directory. Then once you copy to the staging directory, then what do you need to do to him? You need to publish. Okay, there is a build artifact which is a publish build artifact. Copy that, click on add button, click on this one. Okay, so this is the staging directory which you are publishing here. Now save queue, one more time queue it. Okay, because I need that particular deployment YAML to be visible on the release pipeline. That is why I'm copying everything. That's why I'm copying everything. Okay, repeating again. So here this section, I need to see this one when I'm going for the release pipeline. So how it will be visible? If you copy the contents, or if you can copy only this one also enough. You don't need to copy entire thing. You can copy only this one also, because this one to be available for the release pipeline. When you go for the release pipeline, I'm just going for the AKS release pipeline team, first one. Okay, so firstly I'm just considering empty. Take an artifact and just coming here, and it is asking, okay, what exactly your build pipeline name? You can give CHI on the React. Okay, so something, right? CHI. Okay, let me just double check this one. CHI, what exactly the pipeline name? I think because two names are coming with CHI. Just let me double check that one team. Okay. Yeah, CHI-Docker React team. Okay. So just open the drop down one more time. Docker React. That's awesome. So just copy this one. Just add button team. Okay. So once you add this one, so you have added the artifact here. So let's go for the stage here team. So this one I'm talking about. Okay, here you just come here ADO 201 pool. That's awesome. And I'm just giving here AKS release, okay, or something like that. Just save it, click OK. Now the thing is, you have selected a VM as an agent. That's fine, not an issue. And the second thing is, whatever the VM you selected, whether this VM really has the power to connect to your Kubernetes cluster also matters. Otherwise, you cannot connect to that. So that one you can experience. And especially when you are here, the next important thing here is when you go for the plus button, and you can type AKS or something Kubernetes, okay, some kubectl, deploy Kubernetes. Okay, you can take this task team, okay, or kubectl. You can use even this one also. Anything is fine. Okay, yeah. So now just copy this one. I'm just taking one command specially here. I'm just double checking. I believe just a moment. I believe you can use this one specially when you are connecting with AWS or GCP clusters. Okay. There is one more which I just noticed. You can use this one meanwhile team. Okay. Let me use this one. Okay. I think this one is also something similar. No worries. Just click on the plus symbol. When you click on the plus symbol, I think it will just ask you to create a subscription, service account, service connection. Same process. Same process. Okay. Alright. So open the drop down. You can see the Kubernetes cluster which is sitting in your subscription. Okay, see, it is displaying your Kubernetes cluster already. This is the Kubernetes cluster which we have provisioned, so that's why it is listing that. And just give some name for that, AKS -SC -300 or something like that. That's for our identification. Okay. I think it is trying to load some namespaces. Just wait for a while. Just wait for a moment. I'm not very sure why it is taking time. I think let it be. I think let the service connection to be provisioned. So meanwhile, these things and all you are doing for your release pipeline section. Okay. Even you can do the same thing manually also. Okay. Even you can try for that. You go to the repositories. What are the deployment YAML you are seeing, right? So just copy the deployment YAML, and you just go to your Visual Studio Code. Okay, here you are seeing, right? Just click on this particular plus icon. I'm just giving something called deployment.yaml. Okay, I'm just creating one YAML file, and here I'm just pasting whatever I just copied from the repository. Once you just paste it, simple. You just come here, kubectl. Sorry, here kubectl, apply -f. You just give the deployment. Okay, that's all. Just submit this one. See, you simply submit it. Even you can do something like this also. Now once you submit, kubectl get PO doesn't reflect anything because you're deploying your deployment into this namespace. Please understand. So you need to get the resources from there. Get PO. If you use -a, everything will be listed. Everything will be listed. See, there are two parts which are throwing some error. Image pull back off. There are two errors. Image pull back off. What is this about? So here we need to start understanding about errors. Okay, there is a possibility from the interview they can ask you what are all the possible errors you can see when you are deploying any application. Okay, first error you are seeing is image pull back off. Okay, you can talk about this. What is this one? kubectl describe. So whatever the pod is there, right? Just describe the pod. Just describe. And remember, when you try to describe, it is telling, hey, I don't find any describe this kind of pod. It is telling, I don't have any such resource type. The reason for that one is, whenever you are trying to access anything from any specific namespace, you should talk about the namespace with -n. My namespace is frontend -ns. Now you try. So still, just a moment. I think kubectl describe PO. So you need to define one more attribute here, which is PO. Okay, the PO. So it's because it's a pod. Just describe it. See, I'm seeing some error here. Hey, I'm seeing some error. Failed to pull unknown description. Failed to pull unpack image. This image we are unable to pull. Project 23 Azure ReactJS latest failed to authorize. It's a 401. It is giving you completely 401 for you. So what exactly the problem here? So this one you need to think about now. Is there any error in pulling this one? So that also matters. And before going further, so you need to double check. Is there any problem with this particular manifest? Okay. Let's go there and double check one interesting fact here. Okay. Now I'm just going back here to the project 23 and go for the repositories team. Once you go for the repositories, here you can go for the ReactJS. Oh, sorry, you have done multiple builds. That is one thing. That's fine. That's not a challenge here. That's okay. And you are seeing something similar to this, right? So which is some, okay, let me use this one as it is. As it is, I'm just using team. Okay, you just come here and paste your, save it, and just try to submit one more time. kubectl apply -f deployment. Okay, it will override. See, configure means it will override. Now to see the parts, kubectl get PO -a. You can see the parts. Now your parts are running. You are seeing your parts are running. Your application is running. Let's double check one more time. See, your applications are still running. To just double check, is there any failures? You can go for -a -w. -w refers to watch. You can watch your parts. Is there any failure? You're watching now. Okay. Watching now means, see, I think there is a command which never closed here, right? So that is why you're watching at this moment. So -a refers to all the parts, -w refers to watch. So if someone asks you during interview process what exactly the command you will use to see all the parts, kubectl get PO -a. If you want to watch, kubectl get PO -w. For watch, okay, for service, kubectl get SVC. So these are the possible commands. Now you have deployed front end from CLI. You have deployed from CLI. So this is your CLI deployment. That is okay. Once your CLI deployment is okay, now I want to show you one more interesting one to you. For example, I want to expose the deployment as a load balancer. I want to access my front end from outside. How I can give an endpoint to my end user? So that is your next challenge now. To sort out that, you can go for some example. kubectl expose deployment or some command is there. Okay. --- service equal to load balancer. I'm just taking a command from specially from Kubernetes documentation team. Okay, you can refer this. Here you can use this shortcut. This shortcut will help you to just expose it as a load balancer, or you can create a service, something like this. This is also okay. This is another manifest. You can refer again my documentation in GitHub. Go for the service.yaml. Copy this one team. I'm copying this one, just going back to this particularly VM. Okay, here I'm just giving service.yaml. Okay, once you provide the service.yaml, just click on this one, just paste it here. Now instead of talking middleware, I'm just talking front end service is the name. And please remember, namespace must be your thing only. Front end -ns, right? So I'm just creating my service also in the same namespace, and selector is front end. So this is matter. Especially this selector app is nothing but this particular thing should match with your label, this label. Please understand. Line number 7 must match with your service YAML line number 8. Okay. Then port TCP and port 80808080 is fine. So once these things are okay, and type, okay, there is one more command which you should think and which you should use from your documentation. So that is type equal to load balancer, which is under ports. Okay, so you just come here and just giving type equal to load balancer. Once you are done, now I'm just going for kubectl apply -f. Okay, then I'm just going for the service.yaml. That's all. See, your service got exposed. To see that, kubectl get svc is the command. Again, this is a default namespace. -a refers to all the namespaces. What is the name exactly you provided? It's a front end -svc. That's the name. And this is the endpoint exactly you're saying 20.247.240 or something like this, right? So this is the part exactly you're seeing, and especially, and this is listening on HTTP protocol, and the first thing you need to keep in your mind, and the port is 8080. So those are the things you need to keep in your mind. So how do we know this one is a port 8080? Let me explain that. If you know your here team, you can see there is a port which is listening on 8080, and also you clearly mentioned your port is 8080 and your target port is 8080 also. Even your container port also, something should be 8080. Everything should be 8080, then only it will be launched team. Okay, that is very important. So which you need to keep in your mind. Okay, all right team. So let's wait for a while. I think it should work. So the 2247.242.1.7 okay, colon 8080, that's fine. Okay, let's wait for some time. Okay, so this is how exactly we should expose an application to the external world. But lot of issues are here. You are not using HTTPS protocol. You are not using domain name. You are using a port number which is not really good, right? So a lot of issues are there. So we need to sort one by one out. But meanwhile, let's double check one important thing here, whether really this port is working or not. Let me double check from the Visual Studio Code once team. Okay, just come here. So now I'm just applying kubectl get po -a. So when you're pushing this one, I think you're seeing the front end pod is really listening. You just come here and just check the logs team. Okay, kubectl logs. How to check the logs of the application? Just copy the pod name, just give that one. If it is saying I don't find that because namespace you are not matching, you need to go -n namespace. Okay, there are no any running logs actually. We don't see any running logs. -f refers to, you can see the running logs. Okay, but I don't see any logs as such here. I don't see any logs team. Okay, is it really working or not? So that's another thing which we are getting now. Okay, so I believe because we are not getting anything here. Okay, something is wrong here because it is telling okay site can't be reached or 20247 240 217. Just give me a moment. This is a load balancer. Let me double check one more time. So kubectl get svc-a. I believe I'm seeing something like this. Okay, I'm just going for one more thing. Curl. Okay, I'm just giving curl http colon. Just give this one. Oh, sorry, slash. Okay, you need to give something like this. Okay, colon slash. Okay, just give the 8080 at the end, and we will see it. Okay, 8080. Let's see whether it is really responding or not. I think it is not really responding here, Tim. Okay, all right. So let's go there and double check what exactly the problem being raised here. Okay, firstly, the target port is 8080 or not. So that one we will check now. Okay, so to check the target port is 8080, you go to the deployment. Okay, you are also listening on the 8080. This is correct. His Docker file is exporting 8080. So here we are exposing just port 80. All right, I believe we can do the same thing as port 80. So that is one thing, because you are using nginx again here, one more web server in between here. So all right, I believe this is okay. I think we can use this one, nothing wrong, because you are just deploying in the nginx port 80. Okay, you are not routing your traffic to the port 80 exactly. So I believe the problem here is the container port and the Docker file port is the thing exactly should match. So that is one thing, team. Okay, that is one thing which I am noticing at the moment. Okay, all right. So let me double check that one. That is the one of the issue. Okay, let me double check that one, team, because it is not even responding anything. Okay, it is not even responding anything. Just a moment. Maybe let's go with everything as 8080 and we can see that one also. Okay, whether this is really working or not. For example, you can expose your Docker file. Where is your Docker file? So where is your Docker file? I'm just exposing the Docker file with 8080 here, team. Just giving a quick test here. Just give me a moment. I'm just giving a quick test. Okay, just commit. Okay, I'm just committing this one. Just go to the pipeline, team. So since you have modified the Docker file, you just need to execute the pipeline one more time. Just rerun the pipeline, team. Just rerun this one. Okay, rerun this one because I changed the port. So that is the thing exactly. I'm just taking a new container image with 8080. Let's double check this one, team. Okay. So it is queued. So just go for the ADO 201 pool. I will ReactJS build pipeline. Okay, this just cancel this one because this is not ours. Okay, just take it out. So and also just go back, team. All right. Okay, I think this is our thing. Okay, let's go there and double check. Okay, it is pushing an image. I think this time it is pushing an image as 713. So that's a build number exactly we are going to get. Or even you can double check here. Okay, this is 711. Okay, next one is 713. So now simple thing I'm going to do here. I'm going here to Visual Studio Code, and I'm just going here deployment YAML. I'm just going to convert this particular thing in 713. Okay, so just I'm going to submit only one thing, that is only one modification. You just need to submit the deployment YAML one more time. So before whether the build pipeline is succeeded or not, check it. Okay, yeah, build pipeline is okay. So just submit this. See again configure. So I'm just going there. I'm just double checking the kubectl parts. Okay, just double checking. Okay, see 6 seconds, 4 seconds. These are the new parts. New parts listening on 8080. All right, and you don't need to modify your service because your service is already good. And also I'm double checking the service also. If the selector is front end, right? Names are correct, right? Yeah, I believe we have given the same name only everywhere. I think that should be okay. Okay. All right. So once this is done this time, which we can try one more time. I think especially for the service wise, no changes because I don't see any change because only deployment is the only the thing change here. Okay. Even if you try for service one more time apply, it will say unchanged. So meaning that no changes are there on the service. Okay. All right. Now we go for the endpoint one more time and just double check and just reload this one 8080 on the 8080. I think there is a problem. I should respond. Why the load balancer? Let me double check the IP. IP is same because we haven't changed anything. That's fine. kubectl get svc-a. I'm checking 247 24217 2247 24217 HTTP. This is all right. Okay. I think it should respond, not HTTPS, HTTP only. Okay. Not very sure why it is not responding. The problem is even we don't see the logs of that application. So no worries. I think we will double check this one. Because that's a dummy static website. Okay, that is why we don't see any logs. Okay, because we already proved that when in the containerization, that's why we converted. Just give me a moment. Okay, so load balance we already exposed. We exposed 2247 to 42. I think it should respond 8080. You are giving about age 8080 here, exposing onto the same, and you are coming to the 8080, everything matched. I don't see any problem so far, and only the problem is really container is working or not. Okay, that's exactly the thing I need to see. Okay. Okay, I have another technique which we can check whether the container is really working or not. So that is, for example, we have pushed a container to container registry, right? You have pushed a container to this particular thing. So we need to see really this container is running fine or not. So that is the another one which we can think about. Okay. So when you go for the repositories, you can go here. Yeah, take this one. So you can take this one, you can pull this image. Yeah, you can pull this image to your virtual machine, and you can run this particular Docker image as a container. It should work. It should work on the VM. Or then only we can confirm, okay, there is no issue with the container. Something wrong with our manifesto or some other things. Okay, that is another thing which we can check here, Tim. Okay, as part of the troubleshoot. For example, sudo docker pull. Okay, it is just telling, okay, in this particular machine we don't see any Docker as such. Okay, so fine. So sudo, I believe we need to install the Docker first here, Tim. Okay, so because in order to make it work, I think we need to install. But I have this VM which is on the terminal. Okay, which is already open. Okay, I think we can use this VM to just pull that one first. Okay, sudo docker pull. Okay, take this one. I believe it is asking the password for us. Okay, just give this one unauthorized. Okay, so because we need to go for ACR login first. Okay, again we need to do, we need to go for Azure ACR login command. Okay, ACR login or something. These commands we need to proceed for. Okay, I think we need to authenticate the container registry, and we need to pull an image. So these are the I think I can give the commands for you. Just give me a moment, Tim. I have the commands already. Just a moment, Tim. Just a moment. I'm just getting the commands. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, Tim. I believe what we need to do. I'm just giving the simple commands to you. Okay. If you are good, I think please try to execute these commands. I'm just giving the command. Just stay on call. Okay. So firstly, I'm just pasting the command. We need to log into the ACR. Then I'm just telling the plan team what we need to do when we get these kind of issues. And you need to run this particular image as a container in the VM itself. Okay. Then we can understand is there any issues with that or not. Okay. So you need to run these commands. If you could do that, I think we can understand is there any problem with this particular image or not. All right, team. Okay, I think since anyway we crossed our time, I believe I will troubleshoot this issue tomorrow. I will keep this environment as it is, and we'll troubleshoot our continuation. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow, team. Bye bye. Thank you for the session. See you in the next part. Okay then, yeah, bye bye team. Yeah, bye.